I forgot to tell you guys. Did you guys wait? But before that, did you guys sign in your attendance on Spectrum at 11 a.m. just now?
Alah, lupa.
Saya sign.
Okay. Sign, okay. Tak apa, yang dah lupa nanti I tolong you sign the attendance, okay? So don't worry, okay? So basically, actually, I really need to meet with you guys because the lecture for this week for BIE3006 is in a different format because I don't have any slides for you, but I need you to do something for me. But as you can see, there's like 4 articles that I've posted on Spectrum that I want you to read. There's something that I have added on Spectrum that later I will show you guys as well. To start the lecture for BIE3006 today, today is, or perhaps this week, right? This is week 2. And week 2 is about property and redevelopment issues. And when we talk about property development or redevelopment, there are 2 types of development. That is, what do you call? You hear this as a norm when people say Greenfields development or Brownfield development. So when you hear the word Greenfield development, it means that it's a newly open land that's still green, okay? It's untouched and it's vacant and it's the best state of land, okay? So Greenfield development has rather not many issues as opposed to Brownfield development, okay? So Brownfield development is the opposite of Greenfield. It's basically like contaminated land, or it's either it's contaminated or it's it was previously like a mining land, or it was a landfill, or it was a derelict agricultural land, okay? So that needs to be redeveloped into something. But when we speak on real estate development, it's always a notion that you're building something on it. But redevelopment of brownfield development actually also includes from a derelict agricultural land into a robust agricultural land. Derelict agricultural land means it's like an abandoned agricultural land. It was unused, so it might be, doesn't have the best chemical balance on the soil for whatever types of agriculture. Okay, so brownfield developments or brownfield development also includes making sure that a derelict agricultural land has like zero sulfate based soil, so that they can replant it into a different type of agriculture, or perhaps make it more robust. And perhaps, when you have good agricultural land from a derelict agricultural land, it can be developed into something else, whatever that needs may be in the future, okay? So I'm gonna show you like a 3 minutes video on Greenfield versus Brownfield development, okay? Are you seeing a YouTube video though? Yes?
Yep.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
In this video, we're going to discuss the difference between Greenfield and Brownfield sites, and which one is the best to go with for a new project. When beginning the site selection process for a new project, Greenfield versus Brownfield is a major decision to be considered. Greenfields are clean, undeveloped land with limitless possibilities and often plenty of room for future growth. However, they're often further from city centers and established infrastructure. Brownfields, on the other hand, are abandoned or contaminated properties. They can take longer and cost more to develop and can involve more risk. But redeveloping them into new productive projects can improve social and environmental impacts, plus provide tax revenue. There are typically 5 major items that need to be considered when comparing feasibility and life cycle costs for a brownfield versus a greenfield site. These include brownfield remediation time and costs, building construction type, infrastructure costs, building utilities, and occupant travel. A long time ago, this decision would have been much simpler because greenfield sites were more abundant and closer to city centers, while brownfield sites were more rare and considered very risky to get involved with. But today, considerations are not just about cost risks. They're about the sustainability of the area and the image of the developer. A developer can gain quite a bit of favor for investing in a city or community by transforming an abandoned site into a new and thriving part of the area. Let's take a quick look at some pros and cons for greenfields and brownfields. Some greenfield pros include clean and undeveloped land, design flexibility, room for future expansion, quicker timelines without the need for remediation, and no remediation costs. Some greenfield cons include typically being further away from city centers, potentially needing new infrastructure, a longer travel time for occupants, and potentially being viewed as contributing to urban sprawl and other negative impacts on the environment. Some brownfield pros could include reducing urban sprawl and the destruction of greenfields, investing in environmental remediation and the redevelopment of a city, having existing infrastructure likely in place, and potentially getting grants and incentives. Some brownfield cons could include complications and high costs due to remediation, a longer timeline, existing structure not meeting current structural standards or building codes, existing structure not working for the new project purpose, the risk of going over budget due to unexpected issues, and perhaps having more space constraints and little room for future expansions. So you can see that there are several big factors that a developer must consider before making a decision. A cheat sheet on everything we discussed here can.
Okay, so basically that gives you like a brief definition of brownfield and greenfield development, whereas obviously there's a many definition of it and many pros and cons, as well as many things to consider whether to develop a greenfield or brownfield. For instance, like in Malaysia, brownfields development includes a mining site like in Selangor, okay? That if you're familiar with Sunway City, it was from a mining site. And it's one way of how the Selangor's government turned the brownfield development into a leisure type building or development, okay? So that's where the idea of Sunway Lagoon and Sunway Pyramid came about, and it was actually based on a mining land. So another example in Malaysia for brownfield development is a landfill. Okay, landfill is where you throw rubbish, not you lah, so when you throw it outside your house, and then the garbage truck will take it, and the person or the truck will take it to a landfill, right? So Bukit Jinjang, was it Bukit Jinjang? Bukit Jinjang, okay, was a landfill site, and they developed the land because it's no longer a landfill over there. So within the first 2-3 years of the development, and they built houses on that Bukit Jinjang. The first about 3 years or so, when it rained, the residents actually complained because there will be smells. Okay, smells of garbage around their houses, and that's why there's also a lot of cons in terms of developing on a brownfield. Okay, so those are some examples in Malaysia. I posted a few articles that has an example in Australia, I think, in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so you guys should read that up, and I need you guys to do this. I know you guys had a long day, so I'm just gonna do this as fast as I can. Hold on. Where is my spectrum? Wait, I might have to tutup my spectrum. Okay, it's this one. Hold on. Window. Okay. So what I posted on Spectrum is I've actually put the snips of the what do you call that? The brownfield versus greenfield uh, definition. Okay, and that's what I need you to do. I want you to submit a 2-page essay in PDF format on the definition of greenfield and brownfield development. Okay, so 2-page means you can do 1 page on greenfield and 1 page on brownfield. Okay, and you can include definition, and you must include like some substance on it, like you can clearly just define with a few lines, but I want you to elaborate on the definition of greenfields and brownfields and whatever that suits your understanding as well. And I need you to submit this by tomorrow 11:55 p.m. So tomorrow the tutorial slot, you can use that slot to finish this and submit on Spectrum. Okay? So these are the articles. You can include more references if needed. And yeah, find out more about what is greenfield development and also brownfield development. You can also discuss what are the issues in greenfield. Normally there's not many issues in greenfield, but many issues in brownfield, although it helps to reduce unused land, and you uphold the unused land into something else. Okay, so that's about it actually. Thank you so much for spending a bit of your time with me. I again apologize for this morning. I had a bengkel unfortunately. See, that's why I pakai kurung dan tudung ni. Kalau tak pakai tudung kat rumah je kan. Okay, anyway. So I think that's about it. Do you have any questions though?
Nak tanya.
Nak tanya?
Yeah, about the brownfield. Why does it mean when the brownfield too? Does it mean by it will provide tax revenue?
Oh, that one is based on incentives. So the video actually focused on not majority of countries, but most of the countries, in order for them to encourage developers to develop on brownfield development, they will give incentives, one, right? And another thing is that when you have land, and you give an incentive to this developer to develop, and then when they develop something, then guess what you have to pay? A lot of tax, right? You ada cukai pintu kat Malaysia, you ada assessment sendiri cukai pintu. You have quit rent to pay, right? You have cukai tanah. So once you have like an unused land or brownfield, you can actually, when you build something on it, it will give you that tax revenue from us lah, basically, when we purchase properties, etc. Okay, so that's two ways of saying it. One, incentives for the developer to develop, and then when the developer has developed it, then you buy the property, then you pay tax to the government, and the government makes money through tax revenue. Okay, process development brownfield sama ke dengan greenfield? Oh, it's different. When it comes to brownfield here in Malaysia, it's actually under the Act of Environment Quality Act, EQA. So brownfield has to go through some reports in order for them to develop it. For instance, like there's this one land that is a brownfield, and they want to develop a bridge, if I'm not mistaken, okay, or something. They want to build something on that land, and before they can proceed with the planning permission proposal, etc., they have to submit a EIA, an environmental impact assessment, to the authorities, and then they can develop the land. So process-wise, it's similar, but with extra process on the due diligence for the EQA. Okay, does that answer your question, Ain'ni? Okay, so any questions? Any more? Okay, if there's no more questions, then I'm going to leave you to do some soul searching and finding what is the definition of greenfield and brownfield. I hope it benefits you a lot, because once you go through finding all this definition, it'll help you to understand better. Okay, so with that, I think since there's no more question, I'm going to close the class so that you guys can have your rest for the day. And remember tomorrow to submit your tutorial and use tutorial time tomorrow to do this as well. Okay. So thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I apologize again for today, and I'll see you guys next week on Wednesday. Okay. So thank you everyone. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.